All right, let's tackle the big question that's been hanging over the entire crypto world. Is this quantum computing threat a real, honest-to-goodness existential risk for Bitcoin, or are we just looking at the next big Y2K panic? I mean, it is a weird time for investors, right? You look around and stocks, gold, silver, pretty much everything is blasting off to all-time highs. But Bitcoin, it feels, well, stuck. It's not really moving with everything else, and when it does, it seems to be heading down. The reason for that might be a lot more serious than just another market cycle.
And listen, this isn't just some random chatter on the internet. This is a quote from Christopher Wood, one of the world's absolute top equity strategists. Just to paint a picture of how serious this is, imagine it's January 2026. A guy like him gets so worried he does the unthinkable. He sells off his fund's entire Bitcoin position, 100%, all because of the quantum threat. That's the level of concern we're talking about here. The big money is getting seriously spooked.
Okay, so let's dig into the heart of this thing. What exactly is this quantum threat? And why in the world does it have seasoned investors thinking about heading for the exits? It all comes down to cryptography, the crypto in cryptocurrency. The entire security model of Bitcoin, the whole thing is built on one simple idea. Its codes are basically impossible for today's computers to break. So here's the difference. A regular computer, what we call a classical computer, just chugs along, it tries one key, then the next one, then the next one, it's slow. A quantum computer, it's on a completely different level. It can look at a mind-boggling number of possibilities all at the exact same time. This isn't just a small step up, it is a giant, exponential leap in computing power. That crazy number you're looking at? Yeah, that's roughly your odds of just guessing a single Bitcoin private key. To put it in perspective, it would take the fastest supercomputer we have today trillions of years to get it. It's designed to be impossible. But here's the kicker. A powerful enough quantum computer running a very specific program, it's called Shor's algorithm, can take that impossible trillions of years problem and solve it in a few days. See, Shor's algorithm is just ridiculously good at the exact kind of math that protects Bitcoin's keys. So what was supposed to take eons could suddenly become a weekend project. So you might be thinking, okay, I've heard about quantum computing for years. It's always been this theoretical risk. So why the sudden freakout? What changed that made this an urgent, right now kind of problem? Well, the timeline just completely collapsed on us. For years, everybody thought, this is a problem for 20 or 30 years from now. But then, in late 2024, Google unveiled its Willow quantum chip, and suddenly, that collision course feels like it could happen as soon as 2026. You see, the big deal wasn't just about speed. Before the Willow chip, quantum computers were just too unstable. They were glitchy, they'd make so many errors they couldn't finish a complex job. Willow fixed that. It had this amazing error correction system that made the machine more stable the bigger it got. That totally changed the game. This analogy just captures the crisis perfectly. For the very first time, the time we think it'll take to build a quantum-proof Bitcoin is now longer than the time we think it'll take for a threatening quantum computer to exist. Those two cars are speeding towards each other, and right now, we don't have the brakes to stop the crash. So let's actually quantify this. Let's put some numbers on it. If this quantum threat really does materialize, what parts of the Bitcoin network are we actually talking about here? What's at risk? Turns out, it's about a quarter of all the Bitcoin in existence. A full 25%. And this includes the legendary wallets of Satoshi Nakamoto himself. All of these coins are held in an old, outdated address format where the public key is just sitting out there, permanently exposed on the blockchain. And that's the fatal flaw. It gives a quantum computer the exact piece of information it needs to work backward and find the private key. And the attack itself is just devastatingly simple. An attacker finds one of these old, vulnerable addresses. They point a quantum computer at it, and boom, they get the private key from that public key. And then they just take the coins. Can you imagine the absolute chaos if Satoshi's billion-dollar wallet suddenly woke up and started moving funds? So this level of uncertainty has really split the investment community in two. It forces every single person to ask themselves, who do you believe in this debate? And what's your personal tolerance for an existential risk? On one side, you've got the big institutional funds. Their job, first and foremost, is to avoid getting wiped out. They're not going to put serious money into something until this problem is proven to be solved. Then you've got retail investors who can stomach more risk. They're making a bet.
A speculation, really, that the smart folks will find a solution just in time, and they'll be rewarded for it.
And this right here is the absolute core of the dilemma. Just look at these timelines from the experts. You've got Chamath saying 2 to 5 years, Vitalik's is looking at around 2028, Deloitte says 5 to 15, and others are saying it's still way off in the future. Nobody actually knows the real deadline, so you're forced to just pick a side and hope you're right. Now, a predicted technological apocalypse, a ticking clock, widespread panic. Does any of this sound, a little familiar? Because we've definitely seen this movie before. Let's rewind the clock. In the late 90s, the entire world was bracing for the Y2K bug. The fear was a complete digital meltdown. People thought elevators would stop, planes would fall out of the sky, and banks would just collapse because computers wouldn't know how to handle the year changing from 99 to 00. And then the clock struck midnight. The ball dropped, and absolutely nothing happened. The world didn't end, we all drank champagne, and the next day, everything worked just fine. Why? Because the world's smartest people were given a clear deadline and a massive incentive to solve the problem. And they did. I mean, the parallels here are pretty striking. You have a potentially apocalyptic tech problem with a deadline. The incentive isn't just global stability, it's a trillion-dollar asset class. You have the smartest minds in cryptography working on it around the clock. And this time they have incredible new tools, like AI, to help speed up the process. So that leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? Is this whole quantum threat just another Y2K, a huge, scary-looking problem that human ingenuity is going to solve right in the nick of time? Or is this something fundamentally different, an apocalypse that we actually can't code our way out of? The answer is going to define the entire future of digital assets,